Girlfriend, 23F, wants to take one car garage spot after moving in with me, 25M. Alright, I'm in a difficult situation. My girlfriend moved in with me out of her parents' house close to 2 years ago now, and around a year ago she bought a 2021 Tesla. We live in a townhome with a one-car garage, and I always intended to be the one to have that spot for my 2012 Honda Civic, in decent condition. I took the risk to get the loan for the house. I pay it each month, and I don't ask her to pay any portion of it. Recently she's been pressuring me to give her the garage, especially due to recent events. Before she got the car, I knew I had to bring up the whole idea of whenever it may inevitably hail, we live in SE way. And the possibility of her pressing to move my car out and hers in to protect while mine takes the damage, which I just don't like. She seemed understanding at first, but now it's getting worse. We had a huge storm blow through the other day and it caused a bunch of hail that presumably blasted the rear window out of her other car that parks on the street, way older. She doesn't really care about this car, but this reinforced the whole garage thing. She's got her mom behind it too and never fails to mention, "My mom doesn't like it at all that you're in the garage." She said it twice. Her mom doesn't necessarily reach out to complain to me, but she's just got to mention. And then she blatantly said last night that given the fact that her car is valued higher, that's just the reason. She's yet to directly ask me to swap spots, but she dances around it and constantly. I don't like the lack of being straight to the point. What would be a good way to navigate this situation? Looking at it from the other side, I can understand feeling that way. But I would think there'd be better ways of approaching that request than what's being done currently. We bought hail blankets for the cars that don't fit in the garage. Chivalry aside, if you are determined not to give up the garage, you just have to tell her so firmly and politely, as in, "GF. I know you want the garage for your car, but I'm not going to do that. You bought your car knowing my house only has a one-car garage that I use. I pay the mortgage and don't ask you to pay rent, so I think this is fair. I'm sorry if you disagree, but this is my decision and I don't want to discuss it further. Also, is there a place nearby she could pay to park it? Since your girlfriend isn't paying you anything for rent, in my opinion she has no valid claim on your garage no matter what kind of car she drives. She can take a portion of whatever she'd be paying for apartment rent if she wasn't living with you, and rent her own covered parking space, or two, in a commercial garage. As a 23-year-old with 2 cars of her own, one of which is a high-end model, in my opinion she has other options. She just needs to be willing to pay for garage space, and it sounds like money is not a major issue here. Stand your ground, and keep your own car in your own garage. It's your house, you pay the mortgage, and the garage was always your spot, that's fair. She moved in, not took over. Her car being newer doesn't automatically entitle her to it. The issue isn't the request, it's the pressure, the guilt-tripping, and bringing her mom into it. If she wants to discuss it, she should do so directly and respectfully. What next? I bought a new blanket, so the bedroom is mine? Don't live with a girlfriend, boyfriend that has never lived on their own. So when this relationship is over, and it will end, she's a child, don't move anyone in straight out of their parents' house again. They're entitled and not prepared. Enjoy your life with this woman, bro. Her mom will fight all her arguments, she'll use outside people to influence and manipulate you, and care nothing for your opinion. This is your house and she doesn't even pay to live there. And she's making demands? Your life will be hell in less than 5 years. My 30 female boyfriend, 29 male, won't let me go over his house when his female housemate, F, is home. Update. I broke up with him. Sorry for formatting errors, I'm on my phone, etc. etc. Background: my boyfriend and I have known each other for a long time but only became friends around 2 years ago and started dating in March of this year. About a month into dating, my psycho housemate basically kicked me out over the fact that I now had a boyfriend. My boyfriend offered for me to stay with him until the end of my lease in May because my only other option was to move 2 hours away. I confirmed over and over again that this would be fine for him and he insisted. I made it clear I couldn't afford to go halves in rent but would pay for whatever I could and kept up on the cleaning and laundry for him. At this time he had a housemate who wasn't paying rent and caused him a lot of stress, so when that came to a very dramatic head, housemate was kicked out and boyfriend started the search for a new housemate. About a month or 2 go by and things are tense with my boyfriend and I. He seems to be resenting me and his space and his lack of freedom. I understand and I'm not offended by this. I still confirm he's okay with me staying there until I get my bond back, and again he insists it's fine. I'm starting to be unhappy too because it's hard not to be in that situation, but I finally found a new place for myself and I have about 2 weeks to move in. Also at this point I had started paying half the rent at my boyfriend's along with continuing to look after the house. When I have about 3 days left before I can move, I'm walking from work to my boyfriend's house and he calls me to say, "Someone's moved in, don't freak out when there's stuff there." I was excited for him because he's been so stressed about it, and when I asked who, he just said, a girl from work. Okay, that's fine. I do know he's fucked most of the girls from his work before we started dating, but that hasn't bothered me up until this point. The next day I come home to his house and the new housemate has kicked my clothes out of the way. I would have cleaned them up before I left had I known that she was moving more stuff that day. I just got no warning. After that, things became strained between my boyfriend and I because I didn't like how things were being handled and he was being really guarded. We ended up breaking up for a week because everything was so heightened, but we talked it out and got back together. Now the month or so that we've been back together has been absolutely great and we've gone out and done a lot of fun things. However, I have not learned a single other thing about his housemate and he has made it clear that he's not comfortable having me over when she's home. One night him and I were out and I asked if I could come back to his and he said no because the girls from his work were all drinking at his house and he's fucked most of them, so that would make him uncomfortable. He also said he wanted to keep his work life and his private life separate. I commented that maybe he shouldn't have moved in with someone from work and he responded that he had no choice and the conversation was over. Since then we haven't discussed the situation further even though he knows I find it odd. I can't accept the situation as it is, no matter what his reasoning is. I feel stupid for trying to pretend this situation doesn't bother me. I don't want our relationship to end because I do actually trust him and I love being with him. I just refuse to be in this situation anymore. I find it embarrassing and naive to accept it at face value. Too long did not read. My boyfriend's new housemate is a girl he works with that he may or may not have slept with, but he won't give me any information about her. He refuses to let me meet her and I'm not allowed in his house if she's home. ETA. Okay, I get it, I am stupid. I will add though, I am allowed in his house when she's not there, so I have seen that his room doesn't have any women's belongings in there, even when it's a last-minute stop-in. When we first started dating he introduced me to everyone in his life. I met people he worked with, just not the girls. He never hid me, he brought me to Easter with his parents and outside of this situation there's nothing he's done to make me question him. I didn't move into his house when he needed a new housemate because it was too much for both of us and we both agreed we wanted a chance at dating before we jumped into living together immediately. There is a chance this girl is a lesbian if she's the coworker he says she is, but I am starting to question that. We go out 3 times a week and he stays over my house. The only nights I don't see him is when either of us are working nights. And for all asking he works at a bar. Lol. Girl, you're the side chick. He doesn't want his main girlfriend to know you exist. I would be willing to bet that he told her you were moving out because you broke up and he is now dating or sleeping with her. He doesn't want you at the house because he doesn't want her to know that you didn't actually break up. I want to keep my work life and my private life separate, while he's also fucked people from work. Yeah, you need to find someone else because it's obvious what's going on here. Your boyfriend wants to keep his private life and his work life separate, except he just made a workmate a housemate and has slept with all the women he works with, who now hang out at his place. Girl, have some self-respect and move on. Like, best case he's starting a cult. The girls from his work were all drinking at his house and he's fucked most of them, so that would make him uncomfortable. He also said he wanted to keep his work life and his private life separate. I do actually trust him. Why? This guy is clearly sleeping with his new roommate, and probably telling her you two are over. He's living with his girlfriend. Sorry, that might be hard to hear, but it's time to move on. Fiance 32M is threatening to end our relationship because I 35F drank wine with coworkers? Background info. Together 2 years, lived together 1. I work at a small luxury resort that has a winery and vineyard. I have worked there 2.5 years. Me and fiance do not drink a lot. I told fiance a couple weeks ago that in the coming weeks my workplace wanted my department to do a winery tour. It is newly renovated with new wine offerings, because they want us to be familiar with the grounds and all the wine we sell. I get to work today and tell fiance I made it there and we exchange I love yous. My department begins the wine tour around 2 p.m. It is me, my supervisor, an owner and 2 coworkers. After learning about the harvesting and processing and all that, we tasted a few different wines. Around 3:15 there starts to be a very aggressive knocking noise on the door of the building we are in. One of the men opened it and in storms my fiance, crazy-eyed and acting like we are on an episode of Cheaters. He is clearly fuming and starts asking why don't I have my phone and that he thought I had been sex trafficked or murdered. That my location was not the usual place at my work. We share our locations on Life 360. Obviously I am mortified and embarrassed. He is saying it shows he cares and he was genuinely worried something bad had happened. Now he is saying he is upset I was drinking without him and that we should never do that without each other. That he feels betrayed and disrespected and even threatened to end our engagement. I think it's absolutely crazy. It's not like he caught me at a bar with them. I was doing a wine tasting at my workplace that serves wine. I am looking for outside perspective on this situation to see if maybe I am overreacting or he is. Girl, end the relationship. No, that's completely unhinged behavior. Has he been controlling in other ways? It doesn't show he cares, it shows he doesn't trust you. He doesn't respect you or your career, and he feels entitled to dictate what you are doing. Threatening to end the relationship is manipulative. Embarrassing you in front of your coworkers is manipulative. Checking your location on Life 360 and then showing up without sending a text or phone call first is manipulative. You're not overreacting, but he sure is. I'm not sure this is displaying legit worry so much as wanting to use his concern to exert control. This is very disturbing, especially since he did this in front of coworkers. I'd take him up on that offer to end your engagement until he can learn some boundaries and to trust you. I'm curious, did he leave a ton of messages on your phone from 2 p.m. to 3:15? Break up with him. It's only going to get worse, and you're going to end up with no job and no friends. He's completely irrational and neurotic. You can't fix this. Gosh girl, I promise you, not one person there thought he cares so much, or that he was worried about your safety. Not one person. Of course you are mortified and embarrassed. He treated you like a dirty, nasty cheat while knowing exactly where you were. And he's upset? He feels betrayed? He feels disrespected? The only way this could get worse is if you stay. And why can't you have a drink if you aren't him? That makes no sense. So he's controlling on top of absurd, jealous and way too immature to even be in a relationship. I, 34M, just found out that my girlfriend, 34F, is cheating on me. This post will be short, cause I'm devastated and don't feel like typing the whole story right now. We've been together for 12 years, never really fought. We had an amazing chemistry, so many shared passions, sports, music, humor. Last years have been seriously hard on us, surgeries, loads of shitty news and challenges with our families. A distance gradually introduced itself between us. I gave her the space she needed to physically and psychologically heal, waited, was questioning her from time to time about many things without being too pushy, and about this weird proximity she had with her colleague M. She kept reassuring me that there was nothing, just a friend blah blah blah. Turns out they developed something in the last months and she was mentally struggling because she saw herself becoming in love with him. She was scared that admitting this was going to put an end in our relation, because she was still in love with me. Her words. Hard to believe for me right now, so she started therapy to find the courage and words to tell me everything, but never was able. Long story short, I found messages, images on her cell phone that will probably rest in my mind for the rest of my life. She is of course super sorry and wishes to go back in time, regrets and feel ashamed. I know it's super recent and that it is not time to make any decision. I need space and time. She accepted to leave the house and go at her parents until I'm ready to discuss. But do you think it is possible to forgive someone for cheating after having built so much, during so long? I feel like I'm never going to be able to look her in the eyes the way I did before. A part of me wants to believe it's feasible. I know life sucked on us in the last years. I feel like forgiving this type of behavior is a way of saying, yeah sure, do what pleases you in the future. I'll just be this lame boyfriend that accepts everything. I want kids in life. We tried in the past, never worked, and now I feel like the clock is ticking and that having to rebuild something from scratch with someone at this age is too late to have a family. Hurts so much. Thank you guys in advance. Sorry for the highly probable multiple typos. Every time she has a difficult time, you will be paranoid that she's cheating. When trust is broken, it's almost impossible to fix it. Lots of hard work from both sides. The fact she didn't tell you is part of her communication issues. She should not have been withdrawing when she had a difficult time. She should have been communicating with you about it. Instead, she found her emotional support in another person. I would move on, because you don't have kids, and this is already a screwed up relationship. There are only two options when it comes to things like this. Forgive her and move on from it, or break up. Breaking up is the best option for you if you believe you'll never trust her again or have the same image of her as a person. I'm not saying at all that you should forgive her or that cheating isn't a big deal, but I'm saying that because a lot of people who stay with cheaters will resent them the entire rest of the relationship and constantly live with anger but won't just leave. It becomes super toxic for both partners, which is why if you plan to stay with her, you can't hold onto it and resent her forever, because you chose to stay with her after she cheated on you. Forgiveness is for yourself, not her. I don't think there's any way you could ever trust her again. Go to counseling to work through this and meet with her only to tell her she has a fixed amount of time to move out of your house, assuming it's under your name only based on what you suggested in your post. You will never be able to fully trust her again, and a relationship without trust is not worth having. At 34, you are still young, life is very long. You should take this to the R, infidelity, and R, support for betrayed subs for advice from people who have been there. You can also read, leave a cheater, gain a life. If you do want to try to reconcile with her, you can look at the R, A's one after infidelity sub. Many of the people there are suffering as they try to make it work. It's up to you to decide whether it's worth the effort. The majority of people who try eventually decide that it wasn't worth it, and wish that they had just left. Good luck, op. She's just upset that she was caught. Of course she's remorseful now. Did she offer to cut the guy off? Quit her job? What is she doing to regain your trust? She was most likely trying to monkey branch and now she just looks like a cheating asshole. Time to separate and find someone else who you can start your family with. 34 is still young. No, it is the time to make the decision. She cheated on you. This is game over. Let her live with her decision.